The Stellar Concord had judged thousands of civilizations. It had watched empires flare up like comet trails bright, brief and doomed. It had watched others grind forward for millennia cold and careful, never daring to reach too far beyond their own borders. Then humanity arrived. Humans were wrong in a way, made older species uneasy. They were soft, small, breakable, no armor plates, no talons, no venom glands. Their ships looked patched together like desperate prayers. Their diplomats smiled too easily. Their soldiers bled too much. They should have been simple to crush, but they kept winning, not always with strength, not always with brilliance, sometimes with a stubbornness so irrational it felt contagious. Concord analysts used the same words again and again: unreasonable, adaptive, dangerously social. Lena Ray was proof. She stood inside a restraint circle. On Outpost Vault 9, wrists pinned behind her back by gravitic locks that hummed like a warning. Her lip was split. A thin line of blood ran down her chin. Her breathing was controlled. Pain measured, filed away. Denied the satisfaction of becoming a sound, a garoon, interrogator paced round her like a predator that enjoyed hearing its own footsteps. Tall, armored, a face like carved stone and eyes that never stopped calculating. "You will provide the coordinates of your supply corridor," he said, voice flat with authority. Lena spat a red fleck onto the flooring. "I already did," she murmured. "Now, go do something impossible, too. Yourself." The backhand came fast. Her head snapped sideways. Lights flashed behind her eyes. She still didn't scream. The Garoon paused, almost disappointed, then resumed circling. "Humans," he said, savoring the word like an insult. "Your kind conquers nothing with strength. You stumble into progress. By accident." Lena swallowed pain and found a laugh anyway. Broken hoarse, sharp as glass. The interrogator stopped. "Explain your amusement." Lena raised her head. But her eyes weren't soft anymore. They burned. "You think you're the worst." "The thing I've ever seen," she said quietly. "I grew up on Earth," he scoffed. "Your primitive origin rock?" "Yes," Lena said, voice steady. "On Earth, where the world itself tries to kill you for fun." He lifted a fist, as if to punctuate the point. Lena kept speaking before he could. "We had animals that could bite through bone. Venoms that stopped hearts. Storms that ate cities. Oceans that swallowed ships like toys." Her smile widened, red at the edges. "And you know what we did?" The Garoon narrowed his eyes. "What?" "We made friends with it," Lena said. For a half second, the interrogator looked genuinely confused. "We trained wolves," she continued. "We brought them into our homes. We learned the moods of beasts with teeth and decided they were family. We held snakes like jewelry and called it courage. We drank toxins in tiny doses until our bodies learned not to die, then bragged about it at parties." The Garoon's hand hovered, unsure whether to strike or to think. Lena leaned forward, as much as the gravitic bind would allow. "It's what your kind never understands. You speak nonsense." "No," Lena whispered. "I speak human." The interrogator's patience snapped. "Enough." He stepped in and swung. The blow never landed. A voice cut through the ring small. Young, calm, and absolute. "Hit her again," it said, "and you'll spend the rest of your life counting what you're missing." Silence dropped like a sealed bulkhead. The Garoon spun toward the entrance. A figure stood there. Half his height, fur charcoal striped, ears flattened in focus. Claws were out, not raised like a threat, just revealed like truth, a Kashari. And behind him the room began to fill, not with footsteps, not with shouts, with arrivals from vents. From shadows that should have been empty, one by one, the pride appeared, smooth and quiet as a tide rolling in. 32 Kashari. Humans called them space cats, an insult wrapped in affection. The Kashari didn't understand cat. They understood the tone. They understood. The bond 32 pairs of predator eyes locked onto. One suddenly uncertain interrogator. The Garoon forced a laugh that didn't convince even himself. "You expect me to fear cubs?" The Kashari at the front. Truck tilted his head as if examining a damaged tool. "A cub," he repeated, stepping forward once. "Lena, please translate for this thick-skilled creature what it means when a Kashari pride marks someone as pack." Lena drew a careful breath and let her smile return, this time almost warm. "It means," she said, "you didn't just grab a smuggler." Her eyes flicked to Rook, softening for a heartbeat. "You grabbed our smuggler." The Garoon's jaw tightened. "I am sanctioned by the Concord." Rook's ears twitched. "Titles are prey concepts," he said. "Pack is older than law." The interrogator's hand drifted toward his sidearm. Rook moved. It wasn't a leap. It wasn't a pounce. It was inevitability, like gravity, deciding you'd had enough time standing upright. A blur of striped fur. Metallic clatter. The weapon skittered across the floor, far from the Garoon's reach. The interrogator staggered back, stunned more by the speed than the loss. The pride flowed closer, still not attacking, still not snarling, just surrounding him with breath and presence and the quiet certainty of a hunt that didn't need noise. Rook turned away from the Garoon as if he'd already stopped mattering. He padded to Lena's side, claws shifting from weapons to tools. With delicate precision, he worked at the gravitic binds. Click, click. The restraints released. Lena's arms dropped. She swayed. Instantly, Kashari stepped in, supporting her weight without being asked, like hands that had practiced catching. Her Rook spoke as if giving a lesson to a child who wanted to understand the world. "The Concord studies the human bonding impulse," he said. "They label it a survival trick, a strategy." His gaze lifted back to the interrogator. "They don't understand why it spreads." The Garoon backed toward the wall, scanning for exits. There were none. "Kashari." The interrogator rasped, trying to reclaim control. "You are not human. You are not even allied species." "This is species is a human word," Rook replied. "Pack is reality." He took one slow step forward. "My littermates died in a research crate," Rook said, voice steady. "I was next." The pride grew very still. "Lena had no reason to free me," he continued. "No profit. No advantage. It slowed her mission. It risked capture." The Garoon swallowed. "Why?" Rook's expression deepened into something like reverence and something like warning. "Because humans are reckless with mercy," he said. He glanced at Lena, and for a second the hard edge softened. "She carried me out while alarms screamed. She fed me her rations. She slept beside my crate so I wouldn't wake alone." Lena looked away, embarrassed, like kindness was a secret she didn't want praised. Rook leaned closer to the interrogator, voice dropping into a low purr. "When I asked her why, she said, 'Nobody deserves to die scared and alone, especially not a kid.'" The Garoon's breath quickened. "Mother," he snapped, desperate for logic. "You called her mother? That is biologically impossible." Rook's eyes narrowed. "Biology is irrelevant," he said. "Pack is eternal." Lena lifted her head, voice rough but firm. "Rook, we don't kill unless we have to." Rook didn't look away from the Garoon. "Of course," he said politely. "We are civilized." And quietly, like a promise sealed behind teeth, he added, "But consequences are also civilized." The interrogator tried to shout, tried to trigger station security. Nothing answered. Somewhere in the walls, systems died, one by one, silent, precise, incomplete. Vault 9 didn't feel like a facility anymore. It felt like a hunting ground. The Garoon lunged. Sable Rook's second stepped into place, like a door becoming a wall. No rush, no drama. Just the unmovable fact of a predator deciding you don't pass. Rook's ears flicked once. "You were warned," he said. When peacekeepers finally arrived, the detention ring was empty of Lena and the pride. Cameras were dark. Doors were sealed. The air smelled like scorched metal and fear. In the far corner sat the interrogator alive, shaking, spared by a mercy he hadn't earned and would never understand. His authority was gone. His confidence was gone. On the wall, clean claw marks had carved a message into the plating. Humanity's greatest weapon is not ships, not tactics, not technology. That they make family out of anyone brave enough to stand beside them. Family protects family, signed only with a single symbol. The mark of the Kashari pride 3 systems away, aboard the smuggling craft Wildfire Mercy. Lena lay in a medical bay while a Kashari healer sealed her split lip with careful hands. Rook, perched on the edge of the table, close enough to be comfort, far enough to be guard. One small paw rested over 2 of Lena's fingers, a gesture used by Kashari young when they wanted someone to stay real. You know they'll retaliate, Lena murmured. Rook's eyes gleamed in the dim light. Let them, he said. Our pride is 33 now, Lena exhaled, half laughing, despite the ache. You're planning an army. Rook blinked slowly. Humans taught us something the Concord fears. Lena turned her head. What's that, kiddo? Rook's voice was quiet, and it carried the confidence of a future already decided. That chosen family, he said, is stronger than any empire. Lena smiled and ruffled the fur between his ears. You're damn right, she whispered. You're damn right.